Hello everyone, good afternoon. If you could just add your names to the chat, please. Say hello in the chat. Tell me where you're from. I'm just going to wait for everyone to arrive. Okay, so as you probably know, my name is Mary. I'm presenting this webinar on behalf of ieltsonlinetest.com and Integrate Education. I've recently moved. I'm normally in London, but I now live near Brighton, still in the UK, but slightly different place. So just having a look in the chat. So hi everyone. Hi Trisha. Hi Ezra. John. Dalai. Hi Ang. Hi Safwan. Hello Jade. Faisal. Pooja. Hi. I recognize some names. I think some people are new today or new to my webinar. So if you're here for the first time, if you could just let me know. Hi Tran. First time, Andrea. Margfref. Sorry, I'm not pronouncing your names correctly, I'm sure. Anas, the first time. Muhath, is it? Sudip. Okay. Oh, quite a lot of people here for the first time. Oh, that's great. All right, so hopefully this will be helpful. Just checking the number of people. So we have quite a few people today. So far, 240 more. Quite good. So hopefully you will keep coming back. Is anyone taking IELTS this week? Anyone taking IELTS? All right, some people are. Okay, right, good luck. Monday. Next week for Sandeep. Okay, great. Next month. All right, so there's a mixture of answers. Some people next week, some people next year. Okay, so you're all from different situations. So today we're going to be looking at reading, right? So we tend, more often, I tend to look at the webinars I've done tend to be on speaking and writing, occasionally on reading. So I think it makes a change. It's a good change to do something slightly different, and particularly true, false, not given questions, because these are the ones that people tend to find a little bit tricky, a little bit difficult. Okay, so we'll be looking at this today. Right, so for those of you who are here for the first time, the outline of the webinar will be basically almost 40-minute presentation, followed by 20 minutes Q&A. All right, something like that. Sometimes it's slightly less than that, so you have more time for questions. Other times it's a little bit longer and I've kind of almost run out of time. So it really just depends. So let's see how we get on today. So the outline today is going to be an overview, different question types. As I mentioned, true, false, not given questions. These are the ones that a lot of people find quite difficult. And then, as usual, a Q&A at the end. So if you could adjust your settings to make sure you've got all panelists and attendees, just so other people can see your answers, that would be great. Unfortunately, you can't speak in the webinar because we've got over 300 people today, which is really good. So obviously speaking is difficult, but please feel free to put any answers into the chat. And also you can ask me questions as we go through it, some of which I will be able to answer, others I will probably look at the end if there's time, okay? So we'll be doing it like that. Can I just check that everyone can hear me okay? Can you hear me clearly? Okay, good. So that means if anyone is having problems hearing me, it's probably your connection, so you can maybe try and reconnect. All right, so let's get started. So by the end of this webinar, you will be able to recognize a range of question types. Can you hear me? So Mona's saying you can't hear me. Would you please raise your voice, I think you want to say. Yeah, I'm speaking really loudly actually, so it could just be your settings, right? So if you can, I'm almost shouting. I always speak loudly in these webinars because I realize sometimes there might be a problem. So just maybe adjust your settings if you can't hear me. So we're going to look at a range of question types. You're going to understand when to use different reading skills, and then tackle true, false, not given questions, and how to avoid common mistakes when you're reading. Right, so these are the main things. Okay, so firstly, we'll look at 10 common question types. See if you can tell me what they are. What's the first one? Yes, multiple choice. Okay, I'm sure you're all familiar with this one. Number 2, short answer. Yes. Number 3, sentence completion. Good. 4, yes, note completion. Number 5, yes, no, not given. And then this one. Yeah, true, false, not given. Number 6. Okay, it's like classification, Jagalan. It's very similar. Another word for that. It's very similar. Categorization. It's pretty much the same thing. It's like a synonym. And number 7, something sentence endings. Matching. Yeah, matching sentence endings. And then another matching one, I think. Yeah, that's right. Matching headings. And number 9, locating. It's not correct. Specific, that's right, yes. And the last one, diagram, table. Yeah, so it's about chart, flow chart completion. Okay, so these are the 10 most common question types. Which ones do you find most challenging? Right, which do you find challenging? So if you're not familiar with all of them, it could be that you're not sure what exactly they are. We're going to be looking at them shortly. So all of them, some people are saying, all of them are difficult. 7, 8, 5, 9. Okay, all of them. True, false, not given. So this is basically if you've never done IELTS before, or if you're starting to study IELTS, it could be that you're looking at these and thinking, I don't know what she's talking about. So it's really for people that are preparing and you know exactly what is going to come up in the reading part, the types of questions that will come up. So obviously, if you've never looked at an IELTS paper, you're not going to understand this. So everyone is starting from different points. Okay, so Keenan, Jeremy, is it? So finding numbers 5 and 10, okay. They're difficult. Number 8, matching headings. Number 5, number 1. Okay, so everybody basically has different things they find difficult. So yeah, reading can be a challenge. Anyway, so hopefully I will be able to help you with this today. Right, why? So can you tell me why you find certain question types difficult? Can anyone answer that? Okay, so Sudip has a good point there. It takes a huge time to read the whole passage, so it takes time to complete the answer. I think this is a really common problem is time management. Yeah, and Tatiana is saying the same thing. It's confusing. Okay, the difference between not given and false, that's a really common problem as well, which we're going to look at today. Difficult to focus. Number 8 has too many options. Not used to reading. Okay, so you're giving some really, really good comments here because they're very, very common problems. Okay, matching is difficult, time is difficult. The length, okay, so it seems to me that one of the most common problems is time management. So this, what I'm going to go through today will definitely help you with this. If you have a problem with vocabulary, it's all about preparation. So I would say it's virtually impossible to pass or to get a good grade in the reading part of IELTS if you don't read regularly. So most people, a lot of people, I should say, don't read regularly now. So it's something that you need to really practice a lot. Okay, you can't do this from just doing the odd paper. You need to really practice it. Which sounds obvious, but some people don't really seem to see this. Okay, so I'm going to look at some questions now, some examples, and I want you to tell me what type of question this is, okay? So for anyone that really has no clue about reading IELTS, the IELTS reading test, this should help you. Right, so the first one, what type is this? Multiple choice, yes. The next one? Okay, people are saying different things. Again, this is multiple choice. So multiple choice is when you're choosing an answer or two answers from a list of choices. Okay, multiple just means many. Okay, this one. Multiple choice again. So we're trying to trick you now. We're just giving you all multiple choice. No, I'm joking. But yeah, first three multiple choice. Okay, the next one. Okay, most of you've got this. It's matching sentence endings. Okay, so you've got the beginning and then you just need to find the ending to each start there, each statement. Right, this one. That's right, categorization. Okay, so you read through each statement and then you need to match the country to this particular one. Okay, this one, write no more than 3 words. Okay, what's this one? Yeah, so that's a short answer. Right, so when it says write no more than 3 words, what's the maximum number you should write for this one? It's 3, yeah. So that basically means, I know this probably sounds obvious, but it's really important, this kind of instruction. So if you write 4 words, it would be wrong. All right, so no more than 3 words means 1, 2, or 3. 1, 2, or 3. Okay, but not 4. So that's a short answer. Okay, the next one is, right, let's say some people are saying 9, some people are saying 8. Okay, so it's locating specific information, right? So that the clue to that is which paragraphs contain the following information. So you're looking for particular information. Okay, the next one, use no more than 3 words. Again, so that means 1, 2, or 3. So that one is sentence completion. Yes, some people got that. Okay, what about this one? So labeling the booths. Okay, mixture. Most people are saying, giving the right answer there. That's number 10. Okay, again, no more than 3 words. So 1, 2, or 3 words for that answer. Right, some people are saying 4, some people are saying 10, some people are saying 3. Let's have a look. So it's 4, so it's note completion. Okay, and then this one, yeah, so the clue to that obviously is here from the list of headings, yes. So matching headings, that's right. Right, and here's your favourite one for some of you. Yes, so yes, no, not given. This is the one that a lot of people find the most difficult, particularly not given. Right, so these are the question types and they require different strategies. Right, what reading skills or strategies do you know? Yeah, so skimming and scanning. That's right, skimming and scanning, yes. So they're the main ones. So if you start to study academic English at university, you will learn other strategies for reading, which are kind of sort of higher level, a little bit more advanced, but you always have to use these strategies, skimming and scanning. So they're the basic ones you need to learn. Right, so firstly, skimming. What is skimming? Okay, so people are saying reading quickly, reading fast. Yes, so it's finding the general meaning, going through the passage quickly, getting the general idea. Yeah, so it is all about reading quite quickly, getting the general idea, looking for keywords. Good, Antonia, nice expression, getting the gist. Yes, getting the gist of the passage. Yeah, so you've all got that. The next one, scanning. How is that different? Looking for specific words. Well, so it's specific information. So quite often with scanning, you would read the questions and then you look for the answers in the text. So yeah, specific information. Yeah, and it could be names or years, particular words. That's right. Yes, things like this. Important data. Yeah. And then the other skill you might need, or you probably will need, is reading carefully. So this is what you do. It's really the third skill. When you read you slow down and you read in more detail. And you will use a combination of these skills to answer most question types. Right, so we're going to look now at how to use these skills to answer true, false, and not given questions. So the kind of questions that most people find difficult or more difficult than the others. Okay, right, so going back to skimming for general meaning. So you use this skill first to get an overview of the passage. So you'll just read through the passage really quickly just to get a general sense of what it's about. And you should spend about 2 to 3 minutes reading quickly. So we've got some nice questions in the chat here. So how do you manage time when you read carefully? So I think this is all about practicing. So by, for example, reading, like spending 2 to 3 minutes reading quickly, you just need to make sure you only spend that amount of time and then you start applying the other strategies. But again, this is something people that find it difficult to do the reading is normally because they're not reading enough. It's a skill that takes a really long time. Yeah, so if you read fast, you can't get the meaning of the passage. So you need to be able to read quickly, but retain the meaning. Okay, so again, this takes practice. You can't suddenly come into IELTS without having any reading skills and read quickly. You just can't do that. So you need to build it up, right? It's a skill that takes a long time to improve, I think. So this is why you generally need quite a long time to prepare for IELTS. So, okay, so Sudip is asking for some resources for reading materials. I would ask if people, because we have a lot of people here today, so if you can recommend anything to Sudip, that would be great. So just put it in the chat. Okay, so 2 to 3 minutes reading quickly. This will help you to locate specific information later. Right, and this is what you should do. Okay, in terms of scanning, first of all, you should read the title and the headings. Okay, so there is a kind of an order that you should do this in, really. This will help you to identify the topic and organisation of the passage. Okay, and then move on to skimming the questions. So just look through the questions. Note the question type. Okay, so we've just looked at 10 different question types. Think about which one it is. Underline keywords in the questions. For example, names, places, dates, nouns, etc. Right, this is really useful because this will just help you to find these things in the text more easily. Skim the topic sentences. Right, so for people that don't know about topic sentences, it's the first sentence of each paragraph. So that will give you the topic for the paragraph. And for people that are, are worried about time, this is something that you can do, okay? You can look at the topic sentences and then later you can have a look at the rest of it. Okay, so then you read and highlight the topic sentences. And okay, note the main idea of each paragraph in your own words. This obviously, you obviously need a little bit of time to do this, but you can just add a couple of sentences at the side or a couple of words at the side. And then highlight the keywords in the passage. Okay, so as you skim through, highlight the keywords from the questions. Okay, right, so moving on to true, false, not given. So yeah, sorry, I'm not acknowledging all your questions, but I will come back to them at the end. But yes, the questions are in sequence according to the text. That makes it easier. I can go back briefly, wait a minute. Right, sorry, I did actually move on a little bit quicker than I meant to. So this is for this. But just for people that are here for the first time, we will be uploading this onto ieltsonlinetest.com later, like today or tomorrow. So you can look at it again, okay? You can't actually have a copy of it, but you can go through it and you can stop it. So that should be helpful, hopefully. So if you feel I'm moving quickly, you can watch it again, so don't worry about that. And these strategies, I would just recommend that you maybe do a past paper and try these strategies, okay? Right, so true, false, not given questions. This is a typical question here. Do the following statements agree with the information given in reading passage 1? Right, so you need to write true, false, or not given. And not given is what people find very difficult. Right, so here are some questions for you. So as I've just said, this is a true, false, not given question. How is it different to yes, no, not given? What is the difference? Yes, it's facts. That's right. So these are facts. Yes, no, not given is opinion. That's right. But one really important thing to mention is if you get this type of question, make sure that you don't accidentally put yes, no, okay? Because then you'll be marked wrong. So make sure you do actually use these words. Again, it sounds obvious, but if you're in a stress state doing this exam, you might just do this by mistake. So just make sure you use these actual words. Okay, so we're going to start with some simpler examples. I want you to decide if the information is the same or not. Right, so this is what you might read in the question on this side, and this is what you might read in the passage. Okay, so firstly, all teachers like to help people. Most teachers like to help people. Is that true, false, or not given? It's false. Yeah. So as I said, these are kind of easy examples to start with. Why? Big F, yes. Yeah, so all and most, they're similar, but they're not the same. Okay, so that is false. Most doesn't represent all teachers. That's right. So in other words, this word at the beginning, all, most, they're called modifiers because they change the noun slightly. And this is different. Okay, girls outnumber boys in art subjects. Most girls study arts subjects. Right, most people are saying not given, which is correct. Good. So what does the word outnumber mean? More, that's right, yes. So there's a comparison here, right? So you're saying more girls study art subjects than boys. So that is completely different to this. It looks similar, but it's not, okay? So it's not given. In other words, there's no comparison here. Right, the next one. On every occasion, the test results were inconclusive. The majority of tests showed no clear results. What's this one? Right, this is a tricky one, I think. It's false. So this expression here, on every occasion, that means 100% of the time. Okay, that is different to this. What does the majority mean? Most, exactly. So most could be 80, 90%, but it's not 100%. So therefore, it's false, right? Every and the majority cannot be the same. So these things you need to be really careful of. Okay, now this one, this car is the best. This car is the most expensive. Yeah, so most of you are getting that not given. Why? So generally we might assume that the best car is the most expensive, and that is where people go wrong because you think naturally that's the case. But if it's not in the text, then it's not given. Yeah, best and expensive are different, exactly. Good. The cost of the car is irrelevant to its worth. That's right. So in other words, there isn't enough information to know for sure. So it could be, for example, I love minis. So for me, a mini would be the best car for me, whereas a Lamborghini, which is maybe the most expensive, would not be suitable for me. So you just need to think about that, not make a natural assumption, what seems to be natural in your head. This is really important to remember for these types of questions. If you're not sure, or if you can't find the answer, choose not given. Right, so scanning for specific information. Right, so again, true, false, not given. Okay, so what you can do is use keywords in the questions to quickly find the right part of the text to focus on. What are the keywords in these questions? Okay, so children, different works. Let's have a look at the first one. So also think of synonyms for keywords. So sometimes if you have names, obviously there's no synonym, right? Like Aries, for example, is a keyword. That's a person, so that you're not going to find a synonym for that. Middle Ages. Okay, we've got Middle Ages again. Scientists, overwork, damage, health. And trade unions, 19th century. So any words like this about periods, about names of people, you can highlight. And in some cases, you can find synonyms. So mentally think of some synonyms for these keywords. Okay, and number 5. Yeah, good, mid-19th century. And also this expression here, half-time schools. Number 6, 20th century, yeah. Full-time schedule, good. Okay, number 7. Yes. So nowadays, needs, differentiated, categorized, how old? Okay, so that is kind of the first step, really. And then you just need to look at the passage and try to find the information. So in other words, scan through the text for these keywords. Can you find them together? Yeah, second line of second paragraph, yeah. So this person, Aries, is introduced at the beginning, but the Middle Ages is a bit further down. So it's this bit here. Aries, Middle Ages. So you can just highlight those words there. So here we find both Aries and the Middle Ages. Therefore, we know the answer is in this section of the passage. Okay, so yeah, I'm going through it fairly slowly because I just want you to learn the strategy, but I realize some people can do this already. Then you would read the question carefully. So you go back to this, read it again. So for true, false, not given questions, we need to decide if the information is the same as the question. Okay, so children did different types of work to adults. And a few of you are saying false. Yeah, which is right. How do you know? No, so the answer is false. How do you know this? Which part shows you this? Yeah, that bit there, no distinction. Okay, no distinction between children and adults, for they shared similar leisure activities and work. Okay, so this bit as well. All right, so you need to kind of understand this word, but then it's also got this which kind of confirms that. Right, next one. Working children during the Middle Ages were generally unloved. Right, so the next answer would continue on, right? So question 2, we follow the same steps. The answers are in the same order as the questions, so we start scanning from the answer. So that's, I think, is really helpful. So you just do this. And a lot of you getting the answer that's right, yes. However, this does not mean children were neglected. Okay, right, next one. Some scientists thought that overwork might damage the health of young children. So first paragraph, yeah, so it starts talking about it here. As you can see, it's using synonyms, so it's not using the same language there. Long hours of labouring would interfere with children's growing bodies, right? That's completely different language, but it's saying the same thing. Right, so the answer is here. And most of you are getting that, so it's true. Yeah, so this bit here. And yeah, so there's no word for scientists. Okay, social reformers. Right, it's kind of, I guess, kind of similar. But it's sort of different. Yeah, I agree. It is sort of different, you're right. Yeah, I agree, Amelia, actually. I'm going to check this one. I think this, we could maybe change this one. Okay, right. The next one. Yeah, scientist. No, it's a good point. It's a good point. I think the word should be different. Other than that, it's correct. Yeah. No, you're right. I didn't write this, by the way. It's not my fault. But I will bring this up. Right, the next one. Can you find the keywords? Trade unions, 19th century. Okay, we've got trade unions, 19th century, so this is quite easy to find these two together. Okay, a lot of you saying true here. It's actually not given. Yeah, it's slightly different. Okay, I think this is quite a tricky one. Right, so it's saying the influence of trade unions and economic changes also contributed to the evolution by leaving some forms of child labour redundant. Right, so it doesn't mention protection of children. It kind of implies it, but it doesn't really mention it. So it's a little bit different. That's why it's not given. Yeah. These are the ones that are really tricky and they really test your English. This is why you must practice this type of, well, you must practice reading for a start, but then also this type of question because it's confusing, it can be. But yeah, so it's not protection. But when you, I'm sorry I'm going fast, but I need to get through everything. And as I said, you can have a look later, okay? The problem is we have a lot to get through, and if I go really slowly, I won't finish it. But this is what I said before. you can watch it again, and you can slow it down and go through it very, very methodically, okay, later. Yeah, what confuses you is the same words they use in the question and in the passage. Exactly. They try to trick you, right? Because, it's if your English isn't really good enough, or isn't very good, you will see, oh, trade unions, and then you'll spot it here, 19th century, and you think, oh, I know this question. That would be very, very easy if they just put it in like that. They need to make it challenging, otherwise it's not testing your English properly. So this is why you must do the necessary preparation to reach the stage where you can answer these questions. Okay, right, let's have a look at the next one. Okay, so majorly contributed. It doesn't say that, it says also contributed. But then it's also the part about the child labour being redundant. It doesn't mention protection. So watch out for these traps. So things like negatives. It's not false because it doesn't say it's not true, if that makes sense. It could be true, but it doesn't mention it. So it's almost like it starts talking about it, but it doesn't complete the answer. So that part of the answer is missing. So this is why these can be they can be confusing. Yeah, some forms is not complete protection. Yeah, some forms of, exactly. Yeah, and saying some forms of child labour are left redundant, okay, that doesn't talk about protection really, it's a different thing. It implies it, okay, suggests possibly, but doesn't actually say it. So if it doesn't say it clearly, it's not given. That is my advice. But I would just really practice these types of questions so you get used to it, okay? So looking out for traps, negatives, modifiers. So modifiers are the words you put before nouns, for example, that change the meaning slightly, like most, the majority of. So redundant just means not necessary. Adverbs of frequency, so they're words like sometimes, occasionally, often, these kind of words. Okay, and just to reiterate, if you're not sure or can't find the information, choose not given. But practice, practice, practice. That is the best thing to do. Okay, the next one. Through the aid of half-time schools, most children went to school in the mid-19th century. Right, can you find that in here? Where is that information? Second paragraph, yes. Okay, so we've got the same expression there. And then, okay, that's another way of saying the mid-19th century. Right, so we know it's in that part. Is this true or false or not given? So a significant proportion of children never attended school in the 1840s. So therefore it's false. Okay, so that's the opposite of this. It's not most, it's saying never, right? So it's the opposite. Yeah, that's an easy one. Well, it's easier, I think. I think the false one's a little bit easier. Okay, and then in the 20th century, almost all children needed to go to school with a full-time schedule. Can you find the keywords? Yeah, mid-19th centuries, 1840s, that's right. Yeah, the last sentence. Okay, by the end of the 19th century, so that is really the beginning of the 20th. Okay, so most people are saying not given, which is true. Why is that? Why is it not given? Not enough information. Yeah, I think the key here, full-time schedule. Can you see this in this sentence? Yeah, so that's right. There's no mention of full-time anywhere here. So it doesn't say whether children went to school full-time. Okay, another one. Right, can you find the keywords here? So highly differentiated and categorized. Okay, so we've got this here, right? So this is using paraphrases, unique needs. Okay, so we've got the word needs here, but it's expressed slightly differently. And organized into groups. Okay, so that's a paraphrase of this as well. And yeah, so some people jumping ahead, but so this is true, okay? So this is just paraphrasing what's said here. So it's putting the same meaning, but using different words to say it. Nowadays, yeah, I mean, I guess nowadays it sort of implies it because it's present. It's using present simple. Yeah, so you don't actually need to use that word. Yeah, it's the tenses, Amelia, that's right. Yeah. So I realize with these, I always find when I teach reading, it's a little bit tricky doing this webinar because everyone is doing it at different paces. Some people find that, I'm going too quickly. Other people are jumping ahead. And so what I would suggest, as I said, is just please get this from the web, not get it, but you watch it on the website once it's uploaded, and you can just watch it at your own pace. So if you feel I've gone quite quickly today, slow down, just keep stopping it and have a look at everything. Just need, everyone, we've got 400 people here today, so it's just gauging the pace. It can be a bit difficult. Okay, and then this is the section here. Yeah, Ryan, I'm not sure of your question there. I'll come back to that. So just to review what we've done so far. So to tackle true, false, and not given questions, follow these steps, right? Firstly, skim for general meaning. Read the title and headings. Skim questions, underline keywords. Skim topic sentences. So that's the first sentence of each paragraph. Note the main idea of each paragraph. So maybe just in a couple of words, you might do that. And highlight the keywords. Okay, and then the second step, scan for keywords. So scan the whole passage for keywords and synonyms. And then this is really important to remember, and I think it's very, very helpful. So you can scan forward from the location of the last answer. Makes it a lot easier once you know that. Yeah, so not given is the best choice if you can't find the answer, that's right. I'll come back to your question shortly. Third thing is read carefully to check the meaning. So read the question carefully to understand the meaning. and then read the relevant section of the text carefully to check the meaning. And it's important to pay attention to negatives, modifiers, and frequency words. This is where they try and trap you, trick you. So if I were you, I would write, you know what, people always ask me this question and I'm not sure of the answer, I have to say. But if I were you, I would just write the whole thing out just to be careful and just to be clear. I think probably if you put T, F, and G, it would be okay, but I would write the whole form, the full form. If it says that in the question, I would write that. But the main thing to remember is just don't write yes, no when it's true, false. And that is such an easy mistake to make. Okay, so briefly, I'm going to mention the writing evaluation, which I realise some of you have heard about this already, and you know that you have to pay extra. But it is a good idea to do if you've no idea about your current writing level. So you do have to pay for this. It's a premium service, but if you go onto our website, ieltsonlinetest.com, you can choose a topic from the IELTS test library, do the topic, do the task, submit your essay, select an evaluation package, and then you get your score. Thank you, Stephen. I was going to ask the cost of it. So yeah, and it's a good idea, right? You get a report and it just gives you an idea of your current writing level, right? So this is somebody's task here. It's corrected, okay, and then, sorry, I need to do that. Evaluation. So then the different criteria for the writing task, you get a band score there and you get comments. So I would probably do this if I were you, but I'm not you. So it's up to you if you do it, and you do have to pay, I'm afraid. So Sue, we didn't have time to do that because it's only an hour. Unfortunately, I only really had time to look basically at the types of questions and then focus on the yes, no, not given. Otherwise, it would take me like 3 or 4 hours. Okay. Yeah, so Alabi, I'm not really sure exactly what you mean. I would just suggest, I mean, I went through the 10 different question types at the beginning. When you watch this, so it will be uploaded probably today or tomorrow, go through it again and just break it down, stop it. If there's anything you're not sure of, just keep going over it. As I said, I just looked in detail at one particular question type today because it's the one people find quite difficult. So yes, you can do it in different orders. That is fine. Heading selection. Okay, obviously I didn't look at that today, but you use similar strategies. So you would use, skim and scan and just have a look at the words that are in the headings and think of synonyms. So it's $19 for one task. Yeah, it's just one it's one writing evaluation. Okay, so if you consider the person that's marking it is a very experienced examiner, it will take them a bit of time to do this. So it is, I think it's good value myself, but obviously it depends on your situation and what you think. So Uyen, we have some milk, bread and water. The question is they have an apple. So that would be not given because it's not included in the answer. Are the answers in the order of the yes? So the answers are in the order. Yes. So once you've answered one question, the information for the next answer would be the next part, or after that anyway. Yeah, Tatiana. So how do you deal with big reading texts if your level of English is around B1? It's a good question. I would look at the strategies I've given you today. Look at the topic sentences. Okay, so I assume that it's difficult to deal with big reading text when your level is lower because you haven't got the vocabulary and you can't read quickly. So if that is your problem, I would look at topic sentences primarily. But gradually, work at just, as I said, just reading every day, just practicing this skill because you will get better. How can you avoid speculating for true, false, not given? Honestly, again, I'd just say it's practice, getting used to doing these types of questions, looking at past papers specifically for true, false, not given, and looking at not given and false, just seeing what the differences are, I think. Um, okay, sorry, there are a lot of questions. It's just a little bit difficult to answer everything. But I actually I need much longer to do this webinar, really. Um, okay, so true, false, not given. So that if the test says put true, false, or not given, all of these will appear. I think they do. Actually, I have heard that they do have one of each, at least. But I would just keep that out of your head. Just give the answer you think is correct. Um, don't worry too much about having, one of each or whatever. Sorry, that's probably not very helpful, but um, okay. So Mahir is saying if it says over 18 in the text and the statement is there's no upper age limit, is it true, false, or not given? Um, it's not given because it's not talking about a limit in over 18. Um, Namada is asking, where can I refer? I think, do you mean watching this again? Okay, so if you want to watch this again, this webinar, if you go onto ieltsonlinetest.com and there's a section which says live lessons, if you scroll right down to the bottom, it shows you the lessons that are up there, okay? So it's got a lot of past lessons that you can watch, and I would strongly recommend that you do this. The most recent one will be this one, but it takes like a day or afternoon to be put up there, so it won't be there yet. When you can watch it, it will go green and you can click on it and watch it. So just do that, and that is also where you can sign up for future webinars. The topics are repeated. Yeah, sorry. I mean, I've got so many questions that it's difficult to answer them all. I apologize. Okay, Dalal is saying, how can I correct my writing paragraph by myself? I think it's difficult to do that, Dalal, to be honest. This is why I'm recommending the service that we offer. Even if you just do it once, at least, you'll have a vague idea of your problems. Okay, Alexandra's saying I got stuck at B2, my vocabulary. Are there methods to improve it to C1 in 1 month? I would just reading as much as you can, making a note of vocabulary. There's no shortcut to this, really. I think it's doable, but you need to completely immerse yourself in this. Read as much as you can. That's right, Grace. Yes. Yes. Okay, right. We had a lot of questions. We had a lot of people today, so I really appreciate you coming. Had over 400, which I think is the most I've ever had. So it's a lot of people. So this is why I apologize if I didn't answer your question. It's a bit difficult, unfortunately. But these are some useful links for you. Okay, so this writing evaluation I mentioned. For upcoming webinars, you can sign up here. Okay, and then another premium service we offer here. Okay, and our YouTube and Facebook channels. All right, so thanks everyone for joining me today and good luck with IELTS. I'll see you again very soon. Bye everyone.